A borrower hands you their whole financial life, pay stubs, bank statements, their social security number. You need every page to close that loan. The moment you take it, you take on a legal duty to protect it, a federal one. And most mortgage lenders could not tell you which agency is holding them to it or what happens when it goes wrong. If you are a bank or a federally insured credit union, your security gets examined by your banking regulator, the OCC, the FDIC, the NCUA, the 3 federal banking agencies. But if you are a mortgage lender, a broker, or almost any of the non-bank lenders, you do not answer to those agencies. You answer to the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC. The rule is called the Safeguards Rule. It lives in the Gramm, Leach, Bliley Act and is written down in the Code of Federal Regulations. The exact citation is in the description. And since June of 2023, it has required you to run a formal written information security program. Not a firewall and a hope, a documented program. The FTC's own guidance is usually direct here. The core of the rule spells out 9 elements your program must include. You designate one qualified individual to own it. You write a risk assessment. You implement safeguards, and that is where the technology lives. Access controls, encryption both at rest and in transit, multi-factor authentication for anyone who touches customer information. You monitor and test. You train your staff. You oversee your vendors. You keep a written incident response plan. And once a year, that qualified individual reports to your board in writing. Read that list the way an examiner does, and you'll notice something. Most of it is not about buying a product. It's about ownership, documentation, and proof. Now, here's the good news. If you are already a Microsoft shop, your whole pipeline already runs on Microsoft 365. And almost every technical safeguard in that rule maps to a Microsoft 365 control you already license. Access controls and multi-factor authentication. That is Microsoft Entra ID. Encryption, data classification, retention, and audit logging. That is Microsoft Purview. Monitoring and incident response. That is Microsoft Defender and Microsoft Sentinel. As a Tier 1 Microsoft Cloud solution provider that manages Microsoft 365 for more than 750 financial institutions, we see the same thing on nearly every tenant we assess. The controls are licensed and they are sitting idle. Microsoft 365 ships configured for a general business that wants its email to just work, not for a regulated lender that has to prove control over customer loan data. Closing that gap is configuration work, and it is the work most lenders have never formally done. There is one more piece, and it is the part that changes the math. Since May of 2024, the Safeguards Rule has a breach notification requirement. If you discover that an unauthorized party acquired the unencrypted information of at least 500 consumers, you have to tell the FTC through their online form as soon as possible and no later than 30 days after you discover it. And that report can be made public. 2 things make that hard if you are not ready. The clock starts at discovery, and the threshold is counted in consumers. To know whether you crossed 500, you have to reconstruct exactly whose data was touched fast. That is what Microsoft Sentinel and Microsoft Defender are for. Without that telemetry, you are just guessing under a federal deadline. This is what we do at ABT. A capable generalist IT shop can keep your email running and your laptops patched, But the safeguards rule asks for something most help desks were never built to deliver: a named security literate program owner, controls tuned for a regulated loan data, and examiner-ready evidence on demand. Our Microsoft 365 Guardian operating model is that program. We configure Microsoft Entra ID, Microsoft Purview, Microsoft Defender, and Microsoft Sentinel to the rule requirements. We manage them day to day, and we produce the reporting an examiner or an incident will demand. For lenders already running their loan platform with us, that program sits on the same dedicated Azure environment where we host Mortgage Exchange and Mortgage Workspace. Security is not bolted on later. It is how the operation runs. And here is the bonus. The same access controls and data classifications that satisfy the safeguards rule are exactly what makes Microsoft 365 Copilot safe to turn on. Do the compliance work, and you also have done your Copilot readiness work. And that readiness matters more now that Copilot can act, not just answer. Its new agentic mode, Cowork, works as the signed-in user. So the same access controls and labeling you built for safeguards rule are exactly what keeps an agent inside the lines. So if you originate or service consumer or mortgage loans, the safeguard rule already applies to you. And Microsoft 365 can meet almost all of it once it is configured and documented. The lenders who get caught short are not the ones without tools. They're the ones who never turned on a powerful platform into a proven program. If you are not sure where your tenant stands, that is a conversation worth having. Talk to a Microsoft 365 specialist at ABT. The full written guide is in the link below. I'm Justin Kirsch. See you in the next one.